some good news. Today, we had just got back the word that we have finally formed our nonprofit corporation. We have our 501c3 now with our EIN number, and our foundation is going to be called the Unity Foundation. Now, I haven't showed you guys the logo yet. People on Patreon will see the logo when it's actually done. But I'm just letting you know. So next time that we have any type of relief or backpack for the children, or maybe medical treatment, or whatever we want to do to help people, you can definitely donate and report it on your taxes, because some people want to do that with their taxes. I get it better than anybody about the taxes, that you need tax breaks. So we're doing that just to have people that want to donate certain amounts, maybe more than others, that have businesses or making a certain amount of money, and they can report it at the end of the year. Some people say, I don't want to be giving money to no church. So if you want to give to the foundation, we have different things. We'll let you know about that. We have to work with people about getting the website set up and all the other things like that. But thank you guys for believing in us and trying to help us with the Houston Flood Relief Fund. We're always trying to progress and grow as much as possible so we can in turn help the people. But aside from that, because we can't complain about the Red Cross and don't create our own charities. I tell people about that. Our ancestors showed us that don't complain, do your own. Now we got that out the way. We have a guest today. She is from Cameroon, is a country in Africa, and she's a filmmaker as well. Her name is Goretti Etchu-Egbe. Did I say that right?
That was a good effort.
That's a good. That's a good effort. See, I am from Southeast Texas. Okay, I come from the country.
Don't worry, I've had my name butchered in so many different ways, so don't worry.
Okay, can you say your name for everyone? Because I know I butchered it up. So can you say it?
Yeah, it's Goretti Etchu-Egbe.
Okay, there you go.
Yes,
that's good. So, Goretti.
yes.
I just want to thank you for sitting down, having a conversation with us on the show. But what I want to find out first and foremost about your life in Cameroon, your parents, how was your upbringing?
My upbringing was privileged. It was privileged in the sense that I grew up very comfortable. I grew up with a family that had just come back from Canada, and so my uncle, because I didn't grow up with my parents, my biological parents. I grew up with my mother's niece and her husband and her family. So I grew up in Yaoundé, the capital of city of Cameroon, and I grew up in a comfortable home. So my upbringing was was a lot of fun. There were a lot of outings. Back then, there was very few homes had the luxury of having a television, and we had a couple of TVs in the house. We were using, so I'm talking about early 80s, we were using computers, which were like, I don't think I ever saw a computer in another person's house until about the 90s. So yeah, my upbringing was good.
Okay, so you didn't grow up with and I'm being sarcastic in a way, but this is not a dig at you. So you didn't grow up with a bunch of flies flying around you and your family, right?
No, I only ever saw those images on TV as well. Whenever there were the Red Cross or there was some aid relief thing, and then I saw that part of Africa, because that part of Africa I never ever saw as a child. I've never really witnessed it in Cameroon, like that level of poverty now.
Okay, so you would say that basically it was downright lies with the American television was showing about African nations.
It may have been true, but it was not our reality. So because they always showed Ethiopia. So even within Cameroon, when a child wouldn't eat, they would say, if you don't eat, you're going to be as skinny as an Ethiopian, or you be as skinny as those Ethiopian children. It wasn't our reality. We never saw that level of poverty ever. I don't think even up to now, things are getting, no, I never, ever, ever witnessed. I have never, ever witnessed that level of poverty. I've only seen it on TV, to be honest.
Well, the reason why I just kept pressing that question because there's a lot of people in America, especially
Mm-hmm.
African Americans, that's, it's not their fault that they have been constantly inundated with misinformation, lies, and
Yeah.
propaganda against Africa. So much so that a lot of them have a hatred for Africa, and I don't know why. So that's why I wanted to press that question. Now let's talk about, you grew up in a privileged family
Yeah.
that did pretty good for themselves. What did your father do for a living?
So I'm one of those lucky girls who has two sets of parents. So my biological father was a head teacher in a primary school, and my mother was also an educator. And with the family I grew up in, my father there was a professor in the university. He actually was a professor, so not just a professor as a teacher, but a professor in terms of educational accomplishments. And yeah, so.
Okay, so let's talk about filmmaking. You went into journalism school or film school. How did you come along to want to become a
So
filmmaker?
you see, my journey into filmmaking it's a bit different, I always say, because um, I'll start right back from my childhood. So I was exposed to films as a child a lot, but it was mainly American films. So we normally were not allowed to get out of the house or go out of the gate. So we had to stay within the gate. So we spent most of our times, if not reading, we were watching movies. We had a really large library of movies. So I was exposed to films. And what fascinated me about filmmaking was just I could get lost in the stories. And because I was such an avid reader, I also tended to get lost in the stories I read, and that stayed with me. But it was I grew up in a very academic home. Like education was it, and so I didn't talk about it until I went to secondary school. I went to a boarding school, and and then I started acting in the school plays and things like that. But I still didn't mention it because I had to focus on. So let's fast forward a few years, and I'm in high school, and Nigeria next door, which is a neighboring country to Cameroon, have started making films and exporting them to Cameroon. And I watched a movie, a Nigerian film. And to me, that was the first time that I saw a film with brown skinned people that was not in French, that was like Africans who spoke English. And that to me was what sparked my interest. That movie, Violated, I will never forget it. I was 16, 17 years old when I watched that film. And that's where my love for filmmaking was born.
So in Nigeria, I heard they have a Nollywood there.
They call it Nollywood now, yes.
Nollywood, and how big
But
is the film scene in Nigeria to call it Nollywood?
it's $1 billion industry. It's more than a billion.
Really?
So it's over $1 billion. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh wow. It's a really huge industry in Nigeria. So it is a
So,
massive
so,
industry.
so you're telling me that if African American actors and actresses that can't get jobs in acting here, they could possibly go to Nigeria and get jobs since it's $1 billion industry?
So there's a Nigerian film called Turning Points. You
Mm-hmm.
should watch that. You'll be surprised at the number of African American stars that are in that film. And I'm going to give you those names. So there's Turning Point. It's a Nigerian film. If you just, even on YouTube, just Google Turning Point, you'll be
Okay.
amazed. And then there's a film I watched recently. What's that film called? There are even Nigerian films. There's a Nigerian film called Black Gold. It's got people like Eric Roberts in it. So like there quite a number of African Americans I think who have identified that opportunity and are going for it. So yeah. So it is
But
it,
and see right there, just what you said about even the Nigerian film industry called Nollywood. You said it's $1 billion
yeah,
industry. Okay,
yeah.
so
So
what I'm trying to tell the audience here is that yes, there is opportunities for you brothers and sisters who are actors and actresses to get some jobs acting in Nigeria. Get your passport, get all the things you need. your global entry pass, get your TSA pre-check pass, get all those extra cards you need, and possibly get some jobs with your brothers and sisters in Nigeria since they cutting them checks like that.
So
So,
yeah, and the thing is, well, not 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 that I'm trying to deter anyone, but or not that I'm trying to paint a false image, but Africans, we're very welcoming. And I'm very sure if we had African Americans actively seeking to act here alongside us, it's going to be a win-win for both, because it's going to be, some of our actors will get a chance to act with like professionals, like proper professionals, because I know how hard it is for people in Hollywood or out there to get into acting. A lot of them have to go through film school and all of that, whereas for us, a lot of it is just based on natural talent. There are very few filmmakers actually did go to film school or acting school or anything related. So, yeah, it's worth looking into, guys. It really is worth looking into. And the pay in Nigeria is very good. Very
okay,
good.
so now let's talk about you started having a love for film and you end up creating your film that's supposed to be coming out called Woman. I seen the trailer for that. Could you explain the preface for people who have not seen the trailer for Woman, so they can kind of know about it and maybe want to look out when the film comes out?
Yes, so Woman tells the story. Woman deals with a topic that's been dealt with over and over again. But the beauty of telling stories in cinema is that every culture, every individual has a different angle to the way they tell their stories. And so with this one, I'm talking about three women who are basically dealing with love. But in this aspect, so there's a married woman who is dealing with infidelity, and then there's the mistress who is um who is doing the betrayal, who I'm talking about the point of view of these three women. So the woman who's been cheated on, her point of view, how she regards this. Then I'm given a chance for the mistress to explain her point of view is this. I'm not encouraging her, as my mother would say, are you encouraging the mistress? Because my mother didn't like that. But no, I'm not encouraging. I'm always saying, to every story, there is your story, my story, and the truth. And everyone needs to have a say. Everyone has a say in their story. So so it's the wife, the mistress, and a young unmarried lady, how she is dealing with her relationship. So it's just giving a voice to three different women in three different stages of a love relationship, and and their stories.
Now, I'm listening to the dynamic of, the movie, and I actually would like to watch that dynamic. In America, between the wife, we call them side chicks in America, mistress, and a single woman, it seems like the side chick or the mistress get the most voice in America. Isn't that crazy?
See, I don't know. I don't know if to term it crazy, because I'm married. I'm married. I've been married for so many years, and I've got 4 kids, like I told you off camera. And I feel like the mistress also has something to say. Not that I would give her that much of a voice, but in every situation where there is infidelity, everyone's got their part to play, and so everyone's got their take on it. So you could call her the mistress, but if she tells you her side of the story, I think it may just surprise you. So I don't know. I'm not too quick to condemn the mistresses, because you never know what the man's told her. You never know what the man has told her, and men.
Well,
So
yeah, I
I'm not
know. I
always
know
too quick
some
to
men.
condemn the
I,
mistress.
I do know some men. And yeah, some men will lie, but here in this country, we also, and I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. You have a man that say, "Well, I'm married," and a woman to be like, "What that got to do with me and you?" That she ain't here. Like that, it's that blatant here in America. I don't
Oh
know in
well, then
Cameroon,
it's
but
for
they
him.
out there.
Well, it's for him to say, No. It would hurt maybe my wife, and so
Hmm.
let's give it at that, at whatever non intimate relationship we can. Because if he goes ahead, I blame him. I really don't blame her that much, you know.
Yeah, basically what you're saying is the one that took the vows is the one that's going to get the most
Absolutely,
condemnation.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah, of
actually,
course.
there's a line in Woman that tells where the mistress says, "Look, I wasn't the one standing at the altar in front of your family and friends making these vows with you. So I have nothing to do. I have that line in my film as well because I always look at it like this woman didn't make no vows with you. You made a vow to love, honor, cherish, and be faithful to another woman. So if you've got the audacity to go to another woman and basically just chop those vows out the window, if that woman is ready to jump on this opportunity, it's her
Yeah,
it's her
yeah,
law.
yeah. It's a lot, and I'm gonna get into that conversation in another video when it comes to Kevin Hart. So I'm gonna save that for that. But
It's trending, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
I'll send it
yeah,
on
that whole
Twitter.
situation was just it just makes me shake my head, and I have to really go in depth about that. But your other film that you was telling me about, and we were speaking about the what happened to a lot of my ancestors that
Yeah.
definitely went through the Middle Passage and came over here to America. You were speaking about your father telling you the stories related to that because there's a lot of people here in America that would say, well, yeah, Africans sold us off to the whites and that's how we got over here. But what did your father tell you about that?
So not my father and like my grand uncles, but there's this belief that all the African Americans or all our cousins, I always call them, all our cousins who were sold out in slavery were sold out by their people. But I have a different version of some of the stories I heard from my people, from my grand uncles, my grandparents, my dad. The stories are a lot of them were stolen. So like some of them will be sent to work for the white man, they thought they were actually going there to do work, and then they just disappear. Or they would just come into the villages and raid and just seize these women. So a lot of the people literally were not just sold like that, like, come, give me glasses, because we have a story in what's that story? Because it's a popular story where they said the white man will put his glasses, and then the Africans will think that they were his eyes, and they will work from morning to night, from sun up to sundown, because they thought the eyes were watching them. I
Hmm.
think it's called Zingraft. But anyway, I digress. So a lot of those stories were like that. So when the white man came, a lot of the villagers, some of them, the healthy strong men, were sent to work for them, to work with those missionaries. And then the missionaries just ended up disappearing. They were never ever seen again. And so it's not everyone who was sold. A lot of people were taken against their will. A lot of people's families didn't even know what happened to them. I'm sure they probably heard about it many months or years down the line when people started becoming aware of slave trade. So I know that proudly, my people say proudly that no one from my village was stolen, because our village was the only village that the white man couldn't get through because of the hills.
Okay, so explain what the hills are. Why he couldn't get through them?
Oh, we were surrounded by like proper forest, like and then my village is called Fontem in Cameroon, and it's very hilly, surrounded by really massive hills. How do you describe hills? Hmm.
No, I understand what you meant, but I thought it was something else to that. So
No, no,
they
it was just,
had a
and then
hill
and
there.
then the people were warriors, and so they were the only they fought the Germans and the slave traders apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
So
So I
they knew
have
the
no
land.
cousins in the United States. No.
Okay, so they knew the land. And you said that what they was doing. So the white man came in, and what they was just attacking them, or what? How they was doing that?
No, they did like raids, like they would come raids, like if they wanted some people and you put up a struggle, and then they would fight and just come later when you guys were ill prepared and just raid the village and just seize the men well, not really seize the men. I'm sure they had different ways of getting the men, but they got the women, got the strong, able men, and went away with. They didn't take the children, or they didn't take the young people. They just took the men.
Okay,
And then
so
you heard stories of they would give them something and they would sleep off. So I don't know. I'm sure then it must have been like some whiskey or gin or something that they would give them a drink and they would sleep off, and then by the time they wake up, they have disappeared. So funny stories like that. So it wasn't always as straightforward as you come to me and in exchange for whatever you've brought from overseas, I give you my people. No, it wasn't always as straightforward as that. Because these were people's loved ones. You don't just sell your loved one for what? We don't know.
yeah, so no, I was reading a comment. What she's explaining is the different ways the Caucasian got us over here. Because a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, the Africans they sold us off," but she's stating that they raided villages. They would sit there and basically poison the black people on some sort of drug, and then they'll wake up. They're on a slave ship. They're working missionary for the white people. And I read about that, how they would have missionaries there set up camps, and they go to the Africans and say, hey, can we have some people to come help us? We just bring in the good news of Jesus. And they're like, oh, okay. And then they go over there, then they end up on a slave ship. People start disappearing. That's what she's explaining. So there's a lot of people also here that says, they don't, why is it that African people haven't reached out to us here in America to ask us at least to have a conversation or ask us to go home? Why hasn't that happened? That's what those people would say.
Sorry. So can you repeat the question? So
the question is, the question is there are people here in
Uh-huh.
America that say, well, why haven't, let's say people in Cameroon have asked us to come back home?
Why we haven't asked them? What's this very handsome African American's name? Oh my gosh. He's in a film with Sana Lathan.
Yes, Sana Lathan.
There's a film she did where she fell in love with a white guy, and then this but her parents wanted her to be with this black guy who was very successful and a doctor, the kind of guy. What's that film called? Something new. It's called.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that film? Something
Yeah,
new.
I remember. Yeah, vaguely. Yes.
What's that actor's name? Oh, gosh, his name's just escaped my memory now. Really handsome, dark. Oh dear. But anyway, he was in my country this year because he's traced his roots to Cameroon, and literally traced his village. And so him and his dad were there this year. I saw the videos, and they were welcomed by the villagers and given their names. My goodness, what's this guy's name? What's this guy's name? I'm going to think about it and maybe text it to you later. But he was in Cameroon recently, and he's found his roots. He's from a place called Babungo in the northwest region of Cameroon. He's been there. He's been to Cameroon so many times. I'm just going to jump on Google and find him for you. But yeah, so then we keep reading about all these like Erica Badu. We keep reading through Ancestry.com. We keep reading a lot about all these African American celebrities who can trace their roots back to Africa, and we publish it like literally on all our blogs, like proudly. So I don't know if you did a quick search, they would see how we are. Look, I can speak for myself, and I think the people I know, I don't think we are willing to accept them back. Like, if you want to come. Hey, I don't think anyone would not want to have them back. No. So if you want to come discover. If you can trace your ancestry to Cameroon, you will love Cameroon. We're called Africa in miniature because we are supposed to have every like topography wise and food wise, we have everything in Cameroon. So it's a very good place to start if you want to discover Africa.
So what is the best city for, let's say someone say, you know what, I want to go to Cameroon. What's the best city for them to go to?
If you want to discover Cameroon, go to Douala. I would say Douala just because you will meet the people in their authenticity, because Douala is like the economic capital, and so you meet um, you would see the hustler. I think you would identify with the hustling nature of the African who the African who cares about their neighbor. Like you will see all of that in a cosmopolitan setting. It's a very good place to start, Douala, I think, because you'll meet all sorts. You will meet Africans at their best and Cameroonians at their best and Cameroonians at their worst. But then we are all human at the end of the day. So you would be exposed to, yeah, you'll be exposed to just your people, and then you
And well,
take it or
that's
leave it. But the hospitality is great. I know that we are known for our hospitality, so Douala is a good place to start.
now some people that like to come in the chat and say things about different African nations. She's telling you to come. You'll be welcome. Visit Douala if you want to start there.
The
And
actor was Blair Underwood. Sorry, Blair
yeah, Blair.
Underwood.
They say Blair Underwood. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it
He's
is.
been to Cameroon numerous times. The last time he came with his dad this year, I think. So yeah.
Okay, so what now? More people's asking other questions now. In let's say your movies are also in Nollywood. Do they have jobs for people behind the scenes, like your camera people, sound people, etc.? Is those jobs available as well outside of
Of
just
course,
acting?
because without them we can't make any films.
Right.
No, yeah, without them we can't make any films. So yeah, there obviously there are those, and especially because it's becoming very competitive, they are actively, I know, looking for skilled cinematographers. So yeah, they're jobs. The film I just wrapped, Bush Faller, my film I just wrapped 3 weeks ago. I shot it here in the UK, and but I insisted on working with African filmmakers. So I had just a few I think a couple non African filmmakers, my gaffer, one of my assistant gaffer, and my sound guy. But I insisted on working with African filmmakers, Nigerians, Ghanaians, just the mix, just because we are all trying to we're all about promoting each other. Yeah, so we try and work with each other and find those with the best skills. And this guy I worked with, his name is Niyitolo Wani. He's really good, really good.
Well, I like what you just said, that you guys are about working with each other, and this
Yeah,
is what we're trying to promote. Definitely here in America, because at one point in time we really did that, and that was just the core of our community. But now we're kind of just don't want to get along, don't want to work with each other, and it's just the complexities of this country is just something to make your head hurt. But what I'm trying to say to the people that's listening, over there in African nations, they're trying to work with each other to do something great. This is what we was talking about on the live stream last night. We talked about Black Broadway and how they built everything for themselves, just like Black Wall Street. So that's our roots to do
yeah.
things like that. Go ahead.
Oh no, yeah. I'm just agreeing with you because I think it happened as well in Cameroon. I can speak for Cameroon. We were colonized by the French, and the French, the way they were able to succeed in Africa was they used the divide and rule method to rule. The divide and rule policy. So they'll come as far down as within a home, and they will pit brother against sister, or father against mother, or father against son. That's how they were able to successfully separate French speaking Africa. So, okay, I come from Cameroon. We've got over 250 dialects, local dialects, over 250. And and how the Frenchman succeeded was there was this so there's this ethnic group that are very industrious, very entrepreneurial, and they were doing so well. And so because they were doing so well and they were like rebellious, what the French did was literally They did an ethnic cleansing. Luckily, they didn't succeed. And then they pitted the current ruling class against that group. And then they divided the north because we've got Muslims in the country as well. So up north we've got the Muslims, and then they isolated the northerners. Like, but the beauty, the good thing about that is a lot of us now who are educated have have understood that. We've understood it so well. And so what we're trying to do is just work with each other as individuals. And I think that that was not just only the French. I think that's how the white people were able to just do what they want. You know, they pitted different groups against each other. And so, because we have all learned that now, we are learning to say, especially when we are out here, as long as you're black, you're my brother. As long as we have similar skin tone, you're my brother. There's no you're Nigerian, you're Cameroonian, you're Senegalese or whatever. As long as you're black and I need something done, I'll look for you first before yeah.
Wait, Goretti, say that again. As long as you're black, what are you gonna do?
You're my brother. If there is something to be done, if there is a job opening, I would look for you first. That's it.
And that should be the message for people in our community here in America. You need to look for your community first, right? How are we going to have anything if we don't look within the community first? And it's not, now if you can't find somebody, then that's a different story. But she's telling you that's our culture to do that. And this is, for me, this is a great conversation because you're only repeating from African culture what we already repeat here on the show. So this is just wonderful for me to hear all of this. Outside of your film Woman, and you was talking about the show Bush, right? That you have coming out as well?
The film Bush. I just wrapped, so we're currently in post-production. So yeah, I'm hoping to release both sometime next year. I'll certainly keep you updated.
Okay, so we definitely want to check those movies out. Goretti, can you definitely tell everyone how to find you, maybe on Twitter or Facebook or a website if they want to contact you?
Yes, I am on Facebook as Goretti Etchu-Egbe. That's an interesting name if you can type it down somewhere. Goretti Etchu-Egbe. But I've got my page, The Goretti Experience. We're currently running a campaign on there, which we are hoping to go viral, where we're asking Africans to tell us some of their hilarious and very funny experiences, like first time experiences out here. So maybe the first time you took an escalator, but just those funny experiences for your first time out here in the West, wherever in the West you are in. So there are quite a lot of funny stories on there. The Facebook page is The Goretti Experience. It's also on Instagram as Bush Follow Movie. So Bush Follow Movie. I'm going to type that on Instagram. And then there is on Facebook. Facebook is The Goretti Experience. So if you want to laugh and see some of our fun experiences, go on my pages and check them out. The Goretti Experience.
Okay, I have one person had a question for you. There it said, what do they need to do to start a business in Cameroon?
What you need is to come and live in Cameroon for at least a month and understand and see the people's needs, because it's okay to have an idea of a business you want to do, but I think that if you want to do a business in Africa, it's worth taking the trip down to Africa to first of all understand the culture of the people you want to deal with, because a lot of African business is based around the culture of the people. So understand the culture of the people that you're dealing with, you know, how they deal with, how they regard business, and then find a need, because find a need, not just the want, find a need for long-term businesses, find a need. And then from then, it's very easy to set up a business. It probably costs you about about $1 or just $2 to register a company or something like that. And then, yeah, you go about it.
Well, that's pretty good because it sure cost me a whole lot more money than $1 to register our LLC and now our nonprofit. Boy, that's
Mm.
great. A
No,
dollar or
yeah.
two?
Sorry.
No, excuse me.
Oh, I said no. No. I just laughed. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no. America's expensive. Trust me on everything that they do. Um, I don't think I can ask her that question because she don't have the answer for that one. I'm
What
just leaving it.
question, Phil? Can you ask
She's
why?
asking basically why have you guys allowed white people in your country, especially the things they have done.
What? It's Stockholm syndrome, I guess.
Stockholm. Okay, her answer is Stockholm syndrome. It's the same thing that we dealing with here. Well, 'cause I get what she's saying because we just heard what you just said. They basically came in the French, and the French is benefiting off of African nations heavy.
Oh my
And
gosh, yeah, because they
if
don't have
Africa,
anything. The French don't have an industry, so
yeah, you're right.
apparently
They don't have
70% of their
nothing.
GDP comes from Africa. It's crazy, crazy.
Okay, so the French don't have nothing. So that means if every African nation that is under French rule would band together and have a revolution to kick the French out and get from underneath their rule, basically France would turn into a third world country.
Oh yes, but I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple. We're still trying to get our currency is called the French CFA. It is literally pegged to the French franc, and it is causing havoc. It's causing so much poverty. I wish it was as simple as we stop using the French CFA today, and then everything will be. But we'll go back. We'll be fine. But it's not that simple. But
Well, you
look,
know,
African
if
Americans,
well, it's
Africa
like
is a gold mine. I'm speaking, sorry, Phil. Did I cut you short? I'm speaking to the African Americans. Africa is a gold mine. There are some very beautiful locations in Africa. If I'm thinking, if you're thinking of building a holiday home, like instead of buying one in the Caribbean, which is that's where everyone seems to go, there are some wonderful coastlines in Africa. I can speak for Cameroon. Beautiful coastlines like Ghana, where you can build a house or build your own home for how much? I mean, I don't. I'm trying to convert that in my head. But if you've got like $20,000, you can build a beautiful home for yourself, a holiday home, and begin to grow your roots or introduce your kids back. But there's so much potential in Africa that I wish all Africans in the diaspora, African Americans included, Africans in the Caribbean, Africans in Brazil included, could just go and find their own little piece and settle there because everyone else is coming in. The Chinese are there. Oh my gosh, the Chinese are there. The Chinese are coming. And when you see them coming, you know that there's a gold pot for them there. So it's worth taking advantage of. Don't be scared by the stories, please. We don't all live in huts. Very few of us do live in huts though, and the huts are really far away. So we've got hard roads, we've got good water, we dress well, we also speak English, we can teach you our dialects. It's not that bad, trust me. It's not.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to promote us to get our passports because a lot of black people in America, African Americans, don't have passports and they don't cost that much to get a passport. It's a little over $100. I mean, come on. I mean, we waste that on Jordans. Very easy. We waste it on iPhone. Way more than that on the iPhone. So we can get our passports so we can at least go. Now this sister saying, get you some property. That's my goal. My goal is to get me some property,
Yeah.
and build me a nice house.
Yeah.
Because when these folks tear this country up, I want to make sure I got a way out. And I'm just telling y'all, that's my position on the whole thing. I'm not going to nobody Canada. I'm not going to Mexico. I want to go back where my ancestors come from. Now, what I was saying earlier about the money, Muammar Gaddafi, before Hillary Clinton and Nicolas Sarkozy got together out of France to murder Muammar Gaddafi, he was trying to bring the currency to a gold dinar. Why
Yes.
everyone haven't thought about that, going to the
Yes.
gold dinar?
Yeah, that was a big loss to Africans. Big loss.
Yeah, it was. It
Big
was,
loss.
and it was upsetting.
It hurt so many Africans I know because we used to fly to Cameroon with because we have so Air France, SM Brussels, Swiss Airlines, and all these European airlines that fly to Cameroon. So they cost you like a plane ticket to Cameroon from London using any of those airlines will cost you about £800 to about £900, whereas the Libyan Airlines, what do we used to call it? Afrikia, he called it Afrikia. Afrikia with £350, you could get to Cameroon. He had made going back to Africa so cheap. Like everybody, I was going to going home twice a year just because of Afrikia. I could see the vision. I could see how if this man succeeded, I don't care if they call him a dictator, but the plans he had for Africa, oh well.
Yeah, it was just sad. Even Muammar Gaddafi, he also was trying to help us on this side, and he had got with the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, and he wanted to give them $5 million to help create businesses in the community and help African Americans. That's what he wanted to do, and the U.S. government blocked him from giving the money.
He was all about Africans empowering Africa. Africans empowering Africa, because I was just watching a video today where they say that so we supplement 60% of the raw materials that make the wealth of the West, that continent, Africa. And when you listen to things like that, your heart just breaks, because you know that we would have to come together in a way that we cannot be separated for us to fight these people. And I don't see it happening in my lifetime, because there's still a lot of division, even though a few people are trying, but with the help of a visionary like Afrikia, like I'm sorry, what's his name, Muammar Gaddafi, it would have come a little bit like sooner. But it's just when you see things like that, and we see these despots we have as leaders right now in Africa, you weep for Africa, you really do.
Yeah, especially in Libya, it's like they killed Gaddafi. Now this man had, his college students had free apartments, paying for them to go to colleges abroad. This man was doing that.
They had free healthcare in his country.
Listen to that. Listen what she just said. In America, they're fighting for healthcare, and this man gave them free healthcare.
It's unbelievable. When that man was killed, I wept. I cried, because I just thought, they will not let us leave these chains. Because Africa, I visualize Africa like this green land with a chain wrapped around it, and like 100 or more hands from the European continent pulling. So when Gaddafi died, I just, oh my God, that chain or noose or whatever I would choose to call it just became tighter. Because
yeah, then what replaced Gaddafi? You have these Arab terrorists come in there, enslaving. Everyone.
We have the birth of Boko Haram. We have the terrorists all across Africa, something that we thought only happened in Palestine. Now it's happening in Africa. It's crazy.
And who you think responsible for all those terrorists running around Africa?
I'm not gonna say that.
Well, we all know who's responsible.
I think we all do.
Yeah. We all know. We all know who's responsible for that. You look at Boko Haram. Look who funds them and put guns in their hands. Because now let me correct myself. There's no gun manufacturing plant in African nations, are they?
Do you know that they just finished hosting the okay, now we've digressed a lot, but do you know that they just finished hosting the arms trade deal, the yearly arms trade show here in London, and I when I was listening to the radio, I was just laughing, because you have the 5 great nations. So England, Britain, France, but the five great nations, we all know them, who are the biggest arm dealers. The biggest arm dealers in the world, the five of them. So we don't manufacture weapons anywhere in Africa. They're trying to stop everyone else because this is their trade. It's hundreds of billions of dollars a year it makes these governments, and then they come and preach to us about, you know what, we'll have that conversation another time.
Yeah, we definitely could, because don't get me started on that,
Oh
because
my
I,
gosh.
I told people this: you couldn't let me be the supreme leader of Africa, because we gonna have the baddest military around, because that's the only way you gonna get picked on. See, like people like that North Korean dude, the reason why they talking about him because he won't let them pick on him.
Oh yeah.
That's
And
why.
we see that. I'm so thankful that a lot of us, our eyes are open now, and we see those things, and we know.
Yeah, and I personally, like, we showed also a video out of Tunisia, and how, even the Arabs over there are just treating the black people bad, as in Northern Africa, and stuff like that just pissed me off. So like I said, I just want us just to build a bridge, come together.
We really need
And
to. We should stop looking at each other as enemies, because that's what they have succeeded in doing all these years. And you see, even they've taught us to hate ourselves, and even hate the color of our skin. That's what they've and the brainwashing goes so deep that I am. It makes me very patient with people who don't understand it, who think, like, for example, if I see someone wanting to bleach their skin, and I understand how deep the self-hate goes, that I try not to be too quick to criticize, but to try and teach them the benefits of your melanin, or why your melanin is so precious, or why you should protect your skin. Like, it's so much deeper that we should just be patient with each other and try and educate each other, so we know that literally this black skin is more precious than gold, and they know it. Because if you think that the basis of their civilization, all the tools they needed for their civilization, they got it from Africa. They learned it from us. And smart as they are, they planned literally 100 years ahead and knew that, okay, if we let these people grow, obviously they are the dominant race. So if we let it grow, we will be outnumbered. We have to find a way, to make them feel insecure. Because if you can make somebody feel insecure in their own skin, then you can control them. So we have to find a way to stop looking at each other as enemies. You're African American, I'm African. The thing is, I'm just an economic migrant who has come to make a better life. And if you saw that and try to get to know me, you'll be surprised at the things that we have in common. You will be really surprised.
yes, I agree with you 110%. We got to come together. That's what it's about for me. Is unification. If you're not talking about unification of African people, then I really don't want to hear it, because we got too much division. It's not working for us, and it's just harming all of us. So Goretti, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Phil.
bringing some great wisdom and conversation to our audience that I greatly appreciate.
Thank you. And please don't forget to check out our Facebook page for some very funny stories on the African migrants' experiences out here. It's the Goretti Experience. Please do check us out. Facebook, the Goretti Experience. Thank you.
All right, everyone, make sure you check it out in your spare time when you're surfing the internet. Check it out. Have a conversation with our sister from Cameroon. I'm pretty sure she'll be glad to talk with you and answer any questions that possibly wasn't answered during the interview. But, sister, definitely thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was great. That was great for me. With these interviews, I learned so much, and I'm just happy to take the time to talk to our brothers and sisters from over in different nations. This is what we're supposed to be doing. It's just speaking to each other and black media should start in America should start taking the lead on that. They really should. Because we are all that we have. And if we don't, why I gotta sign in to do all this again? Oh, you gotta sign back in. Jesus Christ, there's always something on the phones. Let's see, hit yes. Yes. All right. There we go. Advice Show TV. All right, let's see if we can close this back off here. Where are we at? Yeah, so like I said, for me, yes, I'm trying to bring everyone I can together as much as possible. Brothers and sisters, I really am. I'm one person. I am. And I'm trying my best. Shout out to Kellen as well. Kellen is connecting us with a lot of people from African nations, and I appreciate him for doing that, because trust me, it warms my heart, and it also it helps me to learn our true cultures and what's going on in different African nations, and how can we shape that into what we're doing today. Because really, we will run around like someone with blinders on in this country. And, if you don't have your eyesight, you run into anything. And we really need to take the blinders off and really focus on what we have going on in our community. This is why I have personally said I'm taking a hard stance against anyone that's anti-Africa, at least on my comment section. Now, on your YouTube channel, you can be anti-Africa all you want. I won't say a word. I respect you. Your space. But when you come over here, we're not going to have all that. Being disrespectful toward Africa. We can't. We have too much going on. We need to unify with them and unify here in America. And even when he talked, I love how yes, that sister was very awake. So it lets you know that, because some people also like to put out a propaganda that, Africans, all they want to do is coon. That sister wasn't cooning at all. Her eyes was very open. She was speaking nothing but the truth. And if you go and listen to what she was saying on playback, you could just nod your head about it, because she wasn't lying about anything. And she is literally preaching the same message that we preach here. So I was just happy to hear that. So we definitely are on the right track, for sure. But, now over here is about 5:03 here. I'm going to have to get myself up and go over there and work out, because I'm pretty sure he's going to kick my butt today. I went over there, worked out yesterday, and it wasn't nothing nice. So I definitely got to get that workout in for the day. But let's see, go to the website, gives you. Okay, well, and then I think earlier somebody was saying something about something that I should be doing. And I think Lavender Spices had told a person, why don't you do it? I'm glad she said that, because let me put that out there. I'm one guy. I'm limited on what I can do. I'm limited on funds. The more funds I have, the more people I can actually hire. Then I could spread out the work and everything. But even if I had an immense amount of money, everything that I'm not gifted to do, if you are passionate about one thing, if you say, well, you never talk about this, well, because maybe that's not my lane, but it may be your lane to talk about something, or maybe your lane to actually do something else. Then you go out and do it. And then you bring change to the community that you think that needs to change. You can't depend on one guy. You can't depend on one lady. But all of us together, shoot, there's nothing that we can't do. Never try to put what's in your heart on someone else and then keep demanding that they do something. Like, don't do that. You do it. Some people say, why don't you talk about this? Okay, if you're that passionate about it, if you're talking to me on YouTube, then that means you have a YouTube channel. You can upload just as much as I can upload. You can take your cell phone camera, talk about it, upload it. I mean, they made it so easy these days to upload a video now. It's so much easier than what it used to be back in, let's say, 08, 09 with YouTube. So do that. You're right. Golden Black says, be your own leader. That's what you need to be. Be your own leader. I try my best, but some people may say that I may not be the best at certain things. I may not be the most articulate. I may not be the most smart. I never said any of that about myself. I'm human. But if you're better than me, do it. Do it. So people can go be inspired by you, because some people in life will never listen to me. They wouldn't like my look, the way I sound, or how I do things, but they may love you to death. So that's my message. Do you do for self? It's what we need more of within our community. So I'm trying to work out these days as much as possible. Yesterday, he had me running all over the place, and then, hit the weights pretty hard. My thing is, I definitely love the weights, but I'm trying to increase that cardio a lot more so these days. I'm trying to get back to running, like enjoying running like I used to do. But, if you go look at my old videos and I was like this, it's because I was doing a lot of running and walking a lot of miles a day. So I'm trying to get back to running and doing the miles, taking my border collie for 3-mile walks. I took him last time. He fell out when we did, not fell out like passed out, but when he got back to the house, he was like, he was tired. He drank all the water, but then he was ready to go in about another 30 minutes. And border collies never run out of energy. But that's what I'm trying to do. Just trying to, run and get back really, lean like I used to be. I mean, I got the weights part of it. I mean, that's never been an issue for me. I'm strong as a dog on ox. I will say that. But we just want to get that cardio in more so we can get more lean. And so let me go ahead and get off of here, because I got to go work out for 6. It's like 5:08 now. And guys, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to this interview. If you just joined it, catch it on replay, and see you guys next time.